just flex, we're skipping the icebreaker because no one likes the icebreaker. But Randy was here. But so I went, and they were all like, "Oh, you should come on this winter retreat, like whatever." No, I don't want to do things like that. That's dumb. And then I think maybe I came back like once or twice, and then somehow someone sucked me into coming to a leadership meeting then at the beginning of my sophomore year. And this first day that I walked in, it was in Anya's apartment, I was so afraid. There's all these people, and I don't know, and they're like, they're just like chilling, they're all friends. I'm like, oh man. But like, then again, the same time, when I said it the first day I went to church, it was like that all over again. It was like these people, they just love me. They didn't even know me. And so when that happened for the second time, like, that's when I really realized that it didn't matter, because the way they were loving me was the way that God loves me, and it was God's love through them that's how I was being loved. And that because they lived it out that way, and they loved God, and they knew what God's love was, like, they were able to love on me like that. And that's a really big thing for me. Let's see. The end of September of my sophomore year, I got mono, and I couldn't row anymore. And someone tells you can't practice, and you get injured. Like, what do I do? But being in a community of people that love me, like, it helped me, like, not only grow closer to those people, but grow closer to God and realize that, like, He's the only one that's going to be there for me, and what He says is the right thing to do. So I didn't go back to rowing until like January. It's a long story, but I kind of got in trouble with my coach at the end of last year, and I look back, and there are all these things that's like pieced together that God was just trying to show me, like, you don't need to be here anymore. Like, you're done, like, with rowing. And I was like, why? Like, this is why I came here. Like, didn't you send me here? Like, this is what I was supposed to do. And I tried. When I came back to practice after being sick, like, I didn't care what anyone thought. Like, I was like, God told me to do this. This is what I'm going to do, because God's the only one in my life that's been there for me. And every day I was just happy to wake up to be at practice. So I'm like, God, like, what are you doing? Like, why are you telling me that I don't need to be doing this anymore? Like, after I came back and all this stuff. So it's just like really, really hard, because you think that God gives you certain things to glorify Him, and then He steers you in a different direction, and it's definitely not the direction that you want to be steered in. But I knew that my relationship with God had grown at that point, because I was able to accept the fact that, like, that's what God was telling me to do. God was telling me to move on, and the reason I trusted God was because God was the only one that was there for me before. He's the only one that loves me unconditionally every single day, and yeah, so I mean, it was just, I've learned a lot to put my faith and trust in God, just because of His love, and because of the people that He's put in my life that have shown me unconditional love, that's taught me, it's not something you have to earn. It's not, you don't do something and then someone loves you, reciprocates the way you are to them, or whatever. It's just, God loves you because He made you. And I've learned to stop looking to people and just look to God. Like, I just used to run all the time, and I kind of think of it like this. It's like you try to hang something on a wall, and you like try to put it up with Scotch tape or something. It just keeps falling down. And you're like, no, stay on the wall. But you're putting it on with tape. Like, it's never gonna stay. And then when you stick a nail in the wall, you hang a little string and you put it on, it stays. Because, to me, Scotch tape is like man's love. Like, it's going to stay for a little while, but it's never going to be satisfactory. And God's love, it's like nail in the wall, you know? You go into a 200-year-old house, and there's rusty nails, but there's no old Scotch tape on the wall. So, yeah, that's my story. So, that's all I have to say. My questions are in my backpack. You won't get that yet.
Also in your backpack.
There's a wrong typed word. I'm probably going to forget the story I'm supposed to tell you right now. Oh, thanks. You want to help me summarize this?
You start.
Okay, first, Carly will read something for me, please. 1 John 4, 19 to 21. Please.
4:19.
Study hard for physics. It's important. We'll be praying for you. Get it.
So 4:19 to 21?
Yeah.
1 John?
Yeah, 1 John.
We love because he first loved us. If anyone says, I love God, yet hates his brother, he is a liar. For anyone who does not love his brother, whom he has seen, cannot love God, whom he has not seen. 21.
Yeah.
Sorry. And he has given us this command. Whoever loves God must also love his brother.
Right. Okay, so, God tells us that if we love him, we have to love our brothers and sisters. And when I walked into certain situations in my life, like, that's the love that other people gave to me. Like, they didn't have to know me. They didn't know me. And they simply love me because that's what the book says. So, that's what you do. Okay. I have questions. Meredith, can you want to just summarize the first part for me? We're going to read Hosea. Everyone's read the whole book of Hosea, right? Does everyone know that book exists? No one's going to raise their hand and admit it, right? So, Hosea was married to Gomer, and Gomer was a prostitute, right, Randy? All right. And so God tells. Why are you laughing at me? That's not funny.
He's laughing at me.
Oh, okay. God tells Hosea to marry Gomer, and Gomer's a prostitute. So then she's not a prostitute anymore, right? Because she's married now, and they have 3 kids. And then Gomer leaves Hosea for some other guys, and then they get remarried again. So, basically, it's supposed to look like what God's love is to the Israelites, right? Okay. I think that's all I'm supposed to say. So can we split into groups of 3 or split into 3 or 4 groups? Just decide on your own. Maybe like not all the boys in one group.
3 or 4 groups.
Yeah.
Do the people in your.
How many people are in here? No, the boys have to split up and be in. Not all of them in the same group.
Split up.
Okay. Just make 3 or 4 groups. Doesn't matter.
Circle up.
You like it, Rachel? That was really good. Bye, Rachel. Bye, Rachel.
Are you leaving?
Bye.
Can I get my chair over here?